Hello, everyone. It's Mike here with the Impossible Puzzles Show. It's episode 95. I'm joined by Jon Watson. Jon,
Hello.
tell us all about yourself. What's going on this fine Sunday
I'll do.
afternoon?
I've been working on a lot of my resin castings, trying to get some stuff knocked out. Um, One of the few things I've been
Yeah.
working on is, I assume you know what, like, Masters of the Universe is.
To
Yeah.
those who don't, to those who are not toy inventors with funky, crazy stuff on their desk, could you give a little bit intro to that which you're holding in your hand?
Okay, well, I've always loved Motu with the new movie coming out. I was a little disappointed that they haven't created like an Origins cartoon style Cringer, which is, the baby, little battle cat. So I sculpted one out of monster clay. Let me see if I can find my original sculpt here. Sculpted out of like just monster clay, made a two-part silicone mold. I do all my own prototypes and everything. And then
Silicone molds, you're doing 100% yourself?
I do this all myself.
Fascinating.
Do all my own packaging. I do all my own sculpting. But I make a silicone mold. I pressure cast it so there's little to zero air bubbles. They're very nice quality castings. And then I
Fascinating.
get a casting like that, and then I trim it up a bit and paint it up.
You are your own Chinese manufacturing and shipping to Arkansas.
Yes.
You are your own guy, which is a landlocked state anyway.
Yeah,
A joke.
everything is just 3D printed anymore, and I just kind of like the old style of sculpting something and then making castings of it. It's just
How
it's an
long
art
have
form in
you
itself.
how long have you been designing your own toys and making them?
I guess about 6 or 7 years. It started out as a hobby, and then I started posting on Facebook, and I post them in little groups where people might appreciate them, and then they'll contact me and be like, hey, can I buy one of these from you? Or and then I make up a small batch, and I sell those off. Whatever money I get, I put back into materials, supplies.
You
One of
have
them. This is kind of a weird
incredible.
one.
Yeah, show,
There-
show.
Okay, there's a YouTube channel who's I'm merely focused on Toy Story, just everything Toy Story.
Yeah,
It's
I love
called
toys.
Today I Grew Up, and I was designing some eyebrows for Mr. Potato Head, because there was never really an accurate Mr. Potato Head, that had like movable eyebrows or removable. They came pretty close by releasing like this Toy Story 4 version, but it didn't have eyebrows, so I made some like
Oh
little
my!
magnetic ones that are kind of adjustable. But I know that's kind of a safety hazard with children. So what I did instead,
Everything that's fun is a little bit dangerous to someone else. Are those magnetic eyebrows? Oh my God, patent pending.
yeah,
Oh, call the Jewish lawyers, everybody. Oh my God.
but since I knew those were going to be
Fascinating.
child safe because of the magnets, obviously I didn't want any children getting injured. I sculpted a one-piece set that actually sandwiches between the eyes. Let's see if I can.
Wow.
It's just like a little piece like this.
Fascinating.
You pull that out, put it behind, and
Wow.
it's sandwiched in, and it makes it look a lot
Okay.
more like the character.
Mr. Watson, you are making accessories. Could we say
Yes.
that among your toy designing, you are
Well, like-
not just designing, you're selling, you're sculpting, you are doing this your own silicone mold making, resin pressure casting, sewing, you're working with thermoplastics. You're doing your own thermoplastic molding.
Yeah, like,
you're not
I can
shipping to China. Ho ho ho! Oh my God!
This was a little squid, or his name is Kraken, but he was for the Final Faction
Fascinating.
line, which was a Dollar Tree line, and
Fascinating.
he never got released, unfortunately. So I took it upon myself to sculpt this one out of thermoplastic, particularly Instamorph. I did all the pigments and everything, and then I did a casting, and some of these actually even change color.
Fascinating. And
Like,
yeah.
here's an evil Linstaff. I don't know if you can see
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but if I dip it in this cold water,
Yes.
it will actually change color. I don't know if it's showing you that well. It's a bit dark in here. Uh,
Fascinating for a person of your caliber with this much work with silicon molds and resin pressure casting. I You're not one who boasts and accentuates and gives into the false honor of the LinkedIn's and the YouTubes. You're
yeah, yeah.
modest. Why are you so modest and righteous in your hard work?
Well, I think a lot of it is I tried going through the right avenues, all the correct channels of LinkedIn, talking to people, other designers, and people who run the companies, and they don't want unsolicited requests. And you try going through the right channels, it's a big headache. And by the end of it, you're getting a very small percentage of a product you designed. And making prototypes is very expensive. A lot of people who are in that field, they don't even do prototypes themselves just because you spend all this money on a prototype, it might not even work when you're trying to show it to someone. When I could just design it all myself and keep the majority of the profit and just put in what I'm getting back, essentially.
You are a strong believer in self reliance. Do it yourself, design it yourself, make it yourself, sell it yourself. A one man operation as opposed to a big fancy, oh, for $10,000 we might get
Yeah,
your silicone
yeah,
mold. You're against the big business, the big toys,
yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily
the
against it.
not
I do
against.
admire everything they do, and I'm a toy collector myself. I love Motu, I love Mattel, Hasbro, all of that. But sometimes, fans want something a little bit more. Sometimes there's like lost toy prototypes that never see the light of day, and it's nice that someone can make a replica of that for people to add in their collections, like a nice little stand-in,
Fascinating. Fascinating. And what about Bordy? Are you a fan of Bordy? The
40.
AI super connector?
I haven't heard that yet.
How did we get connected exactly?
I believe you sent me a message. I'm not entirely sure. That's why I was a little bit blown away.
I
I was
forgot
just
also.
I
But you
was just
have
at work.
facial hair and you're
And I checked my
surrounded
phone.
by you're also surrounded by all sorts. You're more in the you're not so much dealing with the puzzles. You're more into the holding your
Toys, yeah.
hand toys.
Kind of the process that
Interesting.
goes into making them.
And the
Just
making of them. You're focused on a different enjoyment of the play. Why? How did you know that that's where you belong in the world of toys?
well, I think it's really important to find passion in what you're doing, and it just makes the grueling work more rewarding when something does come out. Like, say every time I make a mold, it's a shot. Maybe it will come out, maybe it won't. It's a waste of expensive materials if it doesn't. So I try to you know come up with any like little processes that whether it be making sure all my gates and everything are good. Um, this is actually a set of hands that were sculpted by Jeff Farley. He worked on the retro Puppet Master film along with Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, and these were a set of hands that he had resculpted, and I basically recasted them so I could do one of my own personal replicas. And this gives you
Wow.
an idea on like,
Oh,
and these are the drill sergeant hands that he sculpted. He's a fantastic artist, and I really recommend that anyone who's into that kind of work,
wow.
the film industry, anything like that, definitely, check these people out. They do commissions as well. So,
And you are, before you were a toy designer, what were you doing of a similar way to express your love of tactile and joyous items?
well, I love model kits, like Mobile Suit Gundam. I like doing the little plastic sprues, things like that. I've always enjoyed that, and I've always liked sculpting. Before this, I wanted it to be someone who did special effects or practical effects for movies. But because I live in Sheridan, there's not really a whole lot of job opportunities in that field. So it's better that I just work from home and then sell my my products that way.
you're feeling that you're in Sheridan, in Arkansas, where
Yeah,
you live. There isn't so much the vibes of toy making, prop design, theater.
it,
It's like the opposite. You're not in
it's
Los
fast food or Walmart.
Angeles. You do you feel you should have been born in Los Angeles, New York, Miami? Is have you been born in the wrong time, in the wrong place?
I, I certainly think that sometimes, but no, I'm happy where I'm at, and if I can, do some things that people enjoy, then it's all worth it.
And what are your experiences for selling your items and your creations?
Well, I thought it would be incredibly stressful because doing it all yourself, shipping it all, keeping track of tracking numbers, names, all that, orders, but it's actually really pleasant. A lot of the people that you deal with are your customers are just fans of your work, and a lot of times they give you compliments on it, and they're very understanding. They're some of the best customers, like customers, fans, people who enjoy my work and like to purchase. They've always been very supportive.
Interesting. And I know LinkedIn. You're not such a big LinkedIn guy. What platforms or what ways do you reach out on using the web?
Facebook and Instagram. My Instagram handle is just Takeover Toys all together.
I'm going to it right now. Look at me, a half-hearted journalist. Takeover Toys is your brand name.
Well, I,
Instagram,
I consider it more of my like art name. Everyone's got an art name, especially in toy
yes.
customizers. There's all kinds of things.
And how often are you posting?
Not very. I've been kind of on a hiatus lately, but I'm trying to get everything back together. Trying to really push harder than what I typically would. This October, I'm going to this event called Church of Chills, and the director of Puppet Master is going to be there. His name is Charles Band, and I know he's been trying to get a Leech Woman film done, but I know they have a relatively small budget because it's smaller productions. And so I was actually sculpting a Leech Woman head. It's
Wow. Oh my. You're
it's
not
a,
you're not one who likes to show behind the scenes and videos of yourself doing the molds and drawing things out, sketching things out, planning, preparing. You're more modest. You have chosen to let your work speak for yourself. Why? Why are you so modest and quiet and not bombastic on the internet and selling with aggression and
well, I think some of it, comes down to some anxiety. I just like doing what I do, and if it sells, it sells. And as long as if I can continue making what I make and still make a little bit of money doing what I like, then it's worth it to me.
so pure of heart and you're not into the oh my god, that is just fascinating. What
This is
explain this explain tell us how this was built and made, and I please share the wisdom behind this great one.
well, this was a Leech Woman sculpt. The original sculpt from the original movie was made out of foam latex, so copies of it sadly no longer exist because foam latex dry rots and all kinds of things happen to it. So I did a recreation out of clay. Then I made a silicone mold. That's why I sculpted it with the open mouth, so I could do a casting, paint it up. It still needs a wig that I need to make, and these are just pieces of styrene that I cut down to like some little links. Added some
Styrene,
nylon string.
wow.
It just runs
Wow.
throughout the neck so it can blend in with the black hair, so it won't be seen on camera. And it's just two
Wow.
strings. You pull them both to make it go up, release them to make them go down, and then you got like a left and right, and you can kind of mix it around and kind of get some really nice movement.
You are
And this,
yourself a puppet master. You are a quiet, modest, sensitive puppet master, but yet you make, mold, design, manufacture, ship, sell. You are doing 10 jobs.
thank
You are
you,
not
man.
frowning. You are not frowning, which means you are enjoying what you are doing.
I love it. it's still not done. I still have to do like a latex leech that slips over this to kind of blend it all in, make it look a little more realistic.
You
I want to
are.
see what.
What's a day in your life like? What does it mean for 24 hours to be Jon Watson?
Wake up tired. I think that's everyone though.
Wake up
Uh,
tired.
I think about what project I have going for the day, like what one I think will yield the most fruit and what I can do in the least amount of time. Like sometimes pressure casting is a little bit off the table because for every mold you have, you can only pressure cast each individual piece or so. I mean, you don't have to pressure cast, but your pieces come out a lot nicer and less air bubbles. Say if you go to sand, there won't be air bubbles underneath the resin for you to discover and have to patch. I'll show you one thing I was working on. I
Yeah,
thought was pretty cool.
please show and
Uh,
tell everyone. Get your popcorn. This itself is a movie. Oh my God, John is
oh,
showing all his wares.
there was a movie called Small Soldiers. I have a buddy that collects a lot of props from that film, and there was an unreleased character called Ocula, who was like an eyeball, like tripod monster. So I sculpted all these parts
Wow,
out of Instamorph,
wow.
like each individual pieces, and they're all they all ball joint together. This is just like the actual master sculpt, out of black Instamorph, so I could see the detail better. But once I have all the pieces and I made molds, then it becomes like an action figure. You just pop it together. It's all ball jointed. The head
Fascinating,
rotates.
fascinating, fascinating.
I wanted to have like little
Fascinating.
suction cups under all the toes. I still need to sculpt the eyelid. It looks a little peculiar right now, but and
It's
that's I
just
didn't.
so.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, I'm just taking this in, and I'm enjoying your Instagram, the Jon Watson, Instagram.com/takeovertoys, which we will put in the description. You are a magical person. Each item that you've posted, when you post on Instagram, and there's 26 posts, each post is yours, and you crafted it, and you designed it, and you manufactured it with silicone molds, and you have assembled it of different, yeah, and your eyebrows of Mr. Potato Head. Of course, I have a bunch of Mr. Potato Heads in my basement. Do they have eyebrows? They do not have eyebrows. That is your invention. That is your molds and your Jason Voorhees hockey mask. And you are, yes. Oh,
This is
heck. Oh, I love
this
it.
is a replica I worked on. This was a kit made by a man named Viacross. It's completely 3D printed out of nylon 12, but it's very sturdy. I made the
Wow.
jaw magnetic, so if I ever need to tighten it up or anything, I could just literally yank it off, and it's held in with magnets, and it just
You are enhancing, you're upgrading main props. You are enhancing, for example, like for example, was it Leech Woman,
yeah,
uh
Leaf Woman
Leek
or
Woman,
Leech
the
Lady.
puppet master, yeah, and you're progressing from existing props through
Yes.
existing mediums, and you're like, let me detach the jaw, get the magnets in, as if everyone can do it, as if
This
everyone
is little
knows how to do it.
upgrades.
This is little upgrades, and you are selling them through Facebook or on a website? How are
I
you?
mostly threw it through Facebook. With Facebook the way it is lately, there's a lot of scammers, but people they usually see behind that all that bull. They'll see that I'm the one who's typically making it, and because they're able to see the process, they're a lot more confident buying through me. That and I only do PayPal goods and services.
So you're selling direct through Facebook, not even through a website, or you're just selling directly through Facebook. Oh my God! I spent all that time making that Shopify website. Are you giving free lessons here? What else? Everyone, get your notepads out. What else should other makers and crafters be doing to be better makers and crafters on Facebook?
Well, I think a lot of it is, is taking influence from other creators you admire. Like myself, I really like Steady Craftsman, and Adam Savage. Really cool guy. He does all kinds of model kits. He's worked in the special effects industry. It's kind of finding your niche, your group of people. Kind of discussing ideas with them, or even seeing what community's like. It's finding something that you enjoy as well. That can kind of benefit everyone.
Such profound wisdom. And I remember before we started, you were messaging me. How will it be recorded, or how will it be set up? And I'm a little anxious.
First podcast, so I'm a bit nervous.
It's okay. No, don't be afraid. No, don't be afraid. But you agreed to do it. Why? You could have said no.
Well, I mean, it's always good to get your name out there, and if someone's asking, then I was very honored. It's just kind of I was like, oh, someone wants to have me in their podcast. Oh wow,
Well, to the guy who can detach the mouth from a puppet that hangs on like a door frame, as you posted on LinkedIn some 2 weeks ago, that is harder to do than running a podcast. I know. I can tell you the names. I just spoke to one today and another last week. I can tell you the names of friends or acquaintances who have their podcasts, and some 50 episodes, some 600 episodes, but none of us, okay, audio, video, whatever, YouTube, media, whatever, that is not the recreation of the molding of the puppets. And as a commercial enterprise through Facebook, this is. I also have anxiety, or maybe people call it more autism and craziness. But don't we have to?
I think I got a little bit of autism myself.
But don't we have to be diverse in our brains and neurodiverse to be?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't we have to have diversity of the neurons to be creative thinkers and crafters and artists and inventors? We have to. It's a byproduct. Yeah. There's no invention.
If you don't obsess about it, no one else will.
Go on. Give the rant. Give the spiel. Tell. Tell.
Well, like, I think anything that's ever, any kind of invention come from some kind of obsession or need, whether it be, something as simple as like a clothes hanger, someone just like, hey, I could fix that. It's finding something that people want, that genuinely people will buy. And I don't know, I do just a little bit of everything. Between model making and the fact that people, are up for, what's it called? Support me through that. It's a very nice thing.
You feel that you're in your element when you're crafting, and there will always be, people who look on and go, and I'm the same. Michael, you're spending 100 hours with your stupid block puzzles and configurations, and no one knows what it is or why you're doing it, and they're filling the basement, and why do we need to turn songs into QR codes? And I am like, I am also like, I'm like, you don't see it? What are you doing with your life? You're crazy. What's wrong with you? They're like, even my my wife's yelling. She's like, "What's going on in the basement?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing's going on." She comes down with a vacuum cleaner. Oh, I'm gonna get the blocks. I'm like, "Oh no! Oh my god!" Do you feel? How do you explain your vast when the creative juices are flowing and you need to sit and mega focus and do and make and create and invent? How do you explain that to people who aren't ever feeling those juices?
Well, I think a lot of it is getting in a kind of state of mind. It's not having really any doubts. What I mean doubts is like a lot of people they won't see a project to fruition because they're like, oh, this isn't coming out so great. The solution is just to keep doing it. so what if the first one doesn't come out great? You're just gonna learn more and learn how not to do things, in the future. You gain knowledge even in failure.
You gain knowledge even in failure. I so relate, and it takes steps. The first iteration, second iteration,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
takes time to get better with the crafting, get better at the. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about this the other day. Like I have a 4-year-old daughter, and she loves Light Bright, and I just
Oh
remember
wow.
putting the. I just remember I was thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, it's one thing being a it's one thing being the end user or the consumer, and $20, you buy something, you use it, it's fun. It's another thing reflecting on the original invention, on like what was even thought about before they sold 1,000 sets, or it's in Walmart and there's 10,000 sets through the distributor and the manufacturer and the licensor or whatever. But like the original design, I was like, man, these are just a bunch of colored circles
Well, that's another
on a
thing.
map. Like mind bending. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say? Yeah.
With like the whole licensing your own products and everything, you really don't have any control on what the end product will be, and you're getting such a small amount of whatever, however many units are sold. So I would prefer to, just do it myself, get a little bit more money for it, and feel just a little bit more, I guess, pride, if that's an appropriate word.
That's a fascinatingly short answer to say in response to I know so many people where either publicly or privately they always say like, "Oh, I thought this manufacturer would do this, and I thought this if I got this license agreement or I got this patent." And what are your thoughts on toy inventing in the future?
That's it's a tough question. More adults are buying toys today than children. I mean, as far as like for the intention of opening or keeping displayed. That's why I think designs, as far as the toy industry is, aren't getting as creative as they possibly could be.
Mm.
I think a lot of it comes from fear of companies, because when you're licensing an idea, you're really just selling them an idea, um, or licensing the idea. And I was talking to Mike Mozart, and he was telling me the best way of going, because I was getting advice from other creators that have done this sort of thing throughout the years, and his recommendation was going through old vintage toy catalogs and kind of rehashing those ideas because the patents had expired. Because you could take it to a company and be like, "Look, you could sell this idea and you won't be sued for it." And it's just that kind of big mentality I like about it.
Ah! That's where we're at in terms of enjoying small objects in your hands to play with.
Yeah,
It's that's just the consumer side. That's the
yeah,
end
it's
user
it's it's a rough
side.
industry.
It's a
That's what
funny.
I like.
It's
It's a little bit more better to be independent, I think. That's why you see so many toy bootleggers and resin casters today. It's
it's like the hacker. It's like hacker culture, and fascinating. Fascinating. Do people reach out to you with requests
oh yeah,
sometimes?
oh yeah.
What's that like? How does that work?
Well, like typically I'll have like a rough idea of what I'm doing. Like maybe it'll be a sketch, and then I'll usually get a comment. Check my message request, be like, "Hey, are these available yet? Or when these are available, can you please message me? And I'd like to purchase one." Um, like yesterday, I sold two of my Cringer sculpts, even though they're not officially out yet. It was someone looking for a present for their brother, so they bought two of them. I guess so they could do them up differently, or have one to keep sealed. I don't know, but I just thought that was really cool. So I gave them like a little bit of discount and everything for them to, because they reached out, and it was, a nice feeling to have someone want a product before it's actually even ready.
So interesting. And I'm just thinking of all the wild questions that are flying through my brain as a fake internet journalist here. Amazing. You love what you do so much, but yet you are not vocalizing the love. Only the finished product is speaking for you. And you want that way. You want that when a person receives in the mail or whenever you ship something out, that by the time they open it, they are just enamored with the, because it's handcrafted.
Yes, yes.
It's you. There are not a million of them. There are not 1,000 of them. There is
Very,
just
it's very small runs because you can only get so many pulls from a silicone mold, like say 50 at most, and that's if you use mold release. And then you got to make a whole nother mold. That's
right.
it gets quite expensive. It's still not as expensive as like getting steel tools molded. That's why manufacturing is often takes place in China and everything is because having those giant steel molds are just so costly to produce.
You
And the
you are going the opposite route where instead of your that's right, instead of having like a $50,000 mold that you can
yeah,
use a million times or whatever, you're focusing on a particular type of mold that you can really only use 50 times. And then the value is not in that there's so many chachkas, so many objects that have been crafted. The value is that each one screams of Jon Watson's craftsmanship and the rawness of the making and the intent time, devotion, and you're smiling. He's smiling, everyone. We've hit the nail on
I'm
that.
I'm just very honored, and I really appreciate you having me on the show and everything. First podcast. Hope I'm nailing it. You know.
You are not one who is tooting his own horn. You don't have LinkedIn videos where you brag, I am Jon
Oh, you see that
Watson,
a
and
lot on there, don't you? Yeah, it's
that's not your style. You would never do that. You would never. That is not you. You do not stand in front of all your creations and go, I, Jon Watson, have made 5,000 toys. Never. You never say that. Ever. You would never say that.
no. I try to keep. I try to make at least as many as people want. Like one thing I hate is when I can't meet demand. I know I was having a real bad problem with the eyebrows because so many people were wanting those, and I think it's kind of you got to know where to not push yourself too much. You don't want to oversell what you can't deliver. That's why I only sell what I'm able to produce. So that way I'm not owing anyone money. There's no negative talk about, my me as an artist. I make sure everything gets in on time. I always make sure I have backups in case those get lost in the mail. It's, just little plans like that.
You are meticulous not just in the art and the mega precision. You are also doing this in relation to the customer, the shipping, the logistics, the making. You are not just the artist, you're the artist, the inventor, the businessman, the
Yeah,
master.
now, of
Wow.
course, fiance helped me with a lot of the shipping and everything, but the majority of everything else, I'll do that myself. It's all done, in this small apartment.
You are not one who runs out, oh, I need investment for my toy company. Oh, I you are just one who works with what you got and you never say it's not enough. You never complain about what you're just you're pushing through no matter what.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
you got to work with what you.
Fascinating. What else? What other wisdom? There's so. Tell more. Give your
Okay.
rant.
Oh, one little. So I
Yes.
really like the idea of doing resin model kits. The beauty of doing those is, you just have to pull them. I clean them off, of course. A lot of resin kit model makers don't, and you end up having like mold release residue, and you got to strip the models in order for the paint to adhere. But I'm doing this little reptilian guy, and I'm thinking about doing them as a resin model kit. That way I could just produce the raw pieces, package them up real nice, and then I don't have to do any of the cleanup or paint. And then I can see how some of my potential customers, how they paint them up. So it's kind of the idea is it will be like 4 pieces. It'll be an arm,
Wow.
left arm, and then, I just mold those all separately and then, ship them a box of pieces, and, they do it as a cheap little resin kit.
how do you calculate your, like, as a, okay, you're running a manufacturing and design and manufacturing and logistics. It's all you. How do you balance everything? How do you know how much to charge relative to how much it costs, to factor in the time you put in, to factor in the mold, materials? How do you are you what, this lover of spreadsheets? How do you calculate all this? It's impossible.
Well, for like, let me see if I can. The eyebrows I did for my first runs of the Mr. Potato Head eyebrows, those were actually made out of black hot glue because I could just squeeze it into a mold, press the other half of the mold. It was very inexpensive, and I could charge $12 each, free shipping because I just used postage stamps. So I'm literally spending hot glue,
That's
plus
the
whatever.
cost. The cost of goods. The cost of
Yeah,
raw materials is the glue. Your molds are so well done. Your mold, the time and energy of making the mold is the hard work, and
and
the
there's several ways you
postage.
can make molds.
I live
Like,
in I live in Canada. In America, you can ship, you can send toy like our objects in the mail, and you can charge through Facebook. People are paying through Facebook, give you the address, you ship it. How much does it cost to ship in America, around America?
well, because I typically do smaller objects, smaller items. That way, I can make more of them via raw materials, and ship them for significantly less. I choose like little 6x6 boxes, and I think it's about like
Yes.
$4 or $5 shipping.
You before you start a project, you're thinking, how much per box to ship,
How to get away, it's like a lot of little things. That's why I like doing the little projects.
and take apart the pieces so that there isn't everything is molded effectively. Yes.
I
Good
do
God.
some bigger projects as well. Like this was a life-size replica of Death Mephisto from the Puppet Master films. He was only seen in like Puppet Master 2, I believe. And
Death Mephisto. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, you're like in like the super niche Death Mephisto. Yes, 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 yes. the lion. Miraculous. I okay. I'm just taking all this in. You don't, you're not so eager to have a Shopify website, a store. You're happy everything's working well through Facebook and Instagram, and interesting. And then you're running through the marketplace. That is the marketplace. So you're just
yeah,
selling
yeah.
through that,
I also
and
sell
then
through Instagram too, but Facebook seems to be the where I get most of my orders.
and there isn't the need to be, and everyone is person to person. It's a
Mhm.
Facebook. There's a love, there's a camaraderie.
Yeah, there's a personal connection between
Yeah.
you and then the buyer, and it's like, oh wow, this came in, it looks great, thank you so much, or hey, I think there's like a little problem with this. Can you potentially send me another one, or anything like that?
It's just, it's the simplicity of, yeah, because it's, you are the one who makes, and they are
Yeah,
the one who,
I make it so I
the
can,
the
I
buyer
can.
gets to speak to the Michelangelo. I get it. I get it. I get it. And it's direct. It's so raw, direct. It's just like, hey, I'm in, and you're shipping in America primarily. It's
Well,
American.
I've shipped to Australia. I've shipped to Germany, or I've shipped to. Okay, when I was doing the Mr. Potato Head eyebrows, those were shipping everywhere. Seems like there's a lot of fans of Toy Story and all over across the world. I've shipped to Israel. I've shipped everywhere, and that was just doing like little bubble mailers with stamps. I mean, I'd warn them beforehand, like, hey, these may take a few months to come, but they will come, and if they don't, please do not hesitate to message me, and I will send a backup, or I always let people know how long they're going to wait for a product, and I never sell a product unless I physically have it made.
Could you give a ballpark figure? You sold like 100 Mr. Potato
I,
Eyebrows, 1,000, 10,000.
I sold probably about 250 at about $12 a piece.
This is some serious dead presidents over here. Some serious Skrilla.
Well, I think
This
a
is
lot of that was a YouTuber named Today I Grew Up kind of showed off some of my work, and a lot of people just kind of started flooding my Instagram, so I had to keep up with that demand for a little bit.
who was this YouTuber who? There was a YouTube. There was a spike in sales because of a YouTuber promoting
It
what
was
you're doing.
it was Today I Grew Up. He's a Toy Story YouTuber. Because I did some like mods for to make Toy Story toys just a little bit more accurate for collectors who want to have that in their collection. And then he saw some of my work and really liked it, and then he did a video on it.
I am just finding this now. Oh, he has 1,000. Oh, he has 187,000 subscribers. Fascinating. Fascinating. You are. Oh, you're not just toys for kids. Of course, you're in like the aficionado, the collector,
Yeah,
the big
I like
boys.
collectors. The adult collectors, they really know what they like, you know. Whether it be Motu, Transformers, I love seeing the third-party accessory kits that people make for them. It's just a really cool community.
Do other toy makers, inventors, designers reach out to you as well, or just fans?
Mostly just fans. I do have some friends that are also designers, and you know, sometimes we kind of bounce ideas off each other. Um, I, I try to support other creators as much as I can. Like there's this one creator named Pikmin Vinyls. He's on Instagram, but he does like resin toys, mostly like TMNT. The 2012 like Ninja Turtles line. He did this ice cream kitty and this chicken set. I bought one of those because it was something that Play School originally showed prototypes for at a toy fair, but it was never released. So I was like, I'll just get one.
Interesting, fascinating. I am taking all this in. Wow. Where do you see yourself in 10 years from today?
Hopefully, like, not dead.
What
I
an
think that's
answer!
everyone, though. As long as
We're still here, everyone. L'chaim, to life. Water, Coke, beer. Not dead. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Well, I bought my burial plot in case the heart attacks come back, in case, God forbid.
I don't want to like put any kind of expectation because that leads to disappointment. As long as I'm doing better than what I am now, then I'm happy.
You're like the opposite of talking to like a serious business guy or like a serious, they're technology inventors. When you talk to them, they're like, oh, the patents are in and we're ready.
I'm very educated.
And I worked really hard. They're like, Steven,
like,
do you even know how?
You just tell Jeff what to do. Shut up, Steven.
Yeah, Steven, we know that you don't know how to turn your computer on, and it's like, hey, I'm the business side. They're like, the business side, yeah, right. More like the yelling side of me.
Yeah, excuse me when I say this, but the business side on that, it just sucks. There's people in charge that have no right to be in charge, telling other people how to run a company that is better off, doing something else.
You must have had before many years back. What other stuff have you been doing, work-wise or hobby-wise, or were you always doing this since you were a younger man?
Oh, always. I've always been doing before it was mostly doing like painting up hockey masks. I was about 12, 13. I was really into the Friday the 13th series. I like doing like horror props, replicas, and
yes,
it's just doing that kind of thing. I used to like doing the metal Freddy gloves. You trace those out on sheet copper, cut them out with some tin snips, riveted them together, and then like solder some blades on them, and you can do some like realistic metal Freddy gloves. there's all kinds of communities that do all kinds of like horror prop making. I particularly like the Jason mask community. Is these people that sculpt Jason masks? They'll make like a buck, and then they'll vacuum form like these big pieces of styrene on it, and they'll drill out all the holes. They'll paint up the mask, make it look accurate. It's just I really like model work. I think.
Fascinating, fascinating. And did you say there's a fiance
Yeah.
in the have there been has there been special costumes or props made at a almost a seductive level as well? You are, yeah. Oh, he's laughing.
Oh
He's
no.
laughing. Everyone, call the rabbi, call the priest, call the Buddhist monk. We are. You are
I think that.
celebrating this forthcoming Mazel Tov. Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Thank you, thank you. I got a. I think I got in that regard is like a He-Man power sword.
Amazing, and congratulations. And
Thank you.
so fascinating. And would you say, I'm trying to come up with more interesting questions, but you're too interesting already. Usually there's a bit of a challenge at this in this juncture. I What is your
Don't ask me the
greatest?
challenges of trying to license my product because I don't do that.
You have just decided in your own experiences that you wish to go a different route than than in the toy space, focusing on collectibles, focusing on higher end collectibles, adults only, let's say, or like maybe horror movie characters,
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
stuff. Your customers are not 4-year-old girls. Let's put it that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
They're more like 40-year-old gentlemen, and you are
That never
focusing.
let go of their childhood.
Yes, yes. Well, we all know that to be involved in toys and games and puzzles, one must always be 3 years old at heart. And I have a Jewish mother, and when I was tinkering with electronics and taking apart computers or playing with puzzles, how many times, Michael, up and up and oh, you better. This is not the way. Oh, lawyer,
Oh
doctor,
no.
accountant. You have not dealt so much with the. You must have critics who are like, "What are you doing? This is not. Oh, you need to go to law school and boop a doop." You have.
Well,
How have you expressed
thankfully,
yourself?
my mother and my family's been very supportive. They've told me they're proud of me. I know I could be doing better, but there's also a lot of people that are doing off worse. So I think as long as I have um, goals and just really work hard, I think that's really just what matters in the end.
Fascinating, fascinating, and you have
You have
not
big wigs.
even
You
once.
have big.
Sorry.
you have you have big wigs on LinkedIn that have no human emotion, and then
Yeah.
there's and then
Say
you
it.
have
Say
like
what. Say your
drug
piece.
addicts, all that other stuff. So it's like as long as I'm somewhere comfortable in the middle.
You are not one who sells aggressively or markets themselves with fancy websites and
No,
promises
no.
the world and delivers nothing. You are all about the
I
products
make
and the.
something. If people like it, if they like it enough, I'll make more. And if they sell it and like it, make as many until they stop selling.
Oh my God. Okay, this has been an incredible episode with Jon Watson here, who has taught us the simplicity of making and selling, and we don't need to give in to all that jazz and be people who we are not. And through this, we can also keep it simple. Keep it simple, and we don't need stupid websites and flaunting skills and talents we do not possess. And we don't need to crack the whip to abuse innocent designers and programmers. And we are fascinating. And we will
Yes.
pause over here. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a very nice it's been a very nice podcast.
Amazing.